Hello, Socket, and happy 100th episode. It just blows my mind that it has been 100 episodes. When I first started off on this journey of knowing I wanted to do a podcast and launching the Socket community, I had no idea what I was doing. I remember taping my first one and thinking, well, it's going to be crappy. I remember listening to it going, well, it's not that bad. I mean, that's, who I am. It started us off on the right foot, but it certainly was nerve-wracking. I was trying to figure out technology. I was trying to figure out how do I save these files, and where do I find the files, and where do I upload them, and who do I send them to, and do I have to edit them, and all that jazz. But one thing I did know when I started is that my first guest would be Patti Minglin. Patti Minglin is the mother of three, a grandma slash GG of two
Yes.
gorgeous babies. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And she has been on the podcast, I think, 3 times already. She was my second episode, my first guest. And I knew a long time ago when I had my 100th that I would invite my good old pal, Patti Minglin, back on the show. So welcome.
I love hearing that. That's so exciting. I love that I was at the beginning in 100 episodes. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's 100 conversations that you have had with
Yeah.
the public.
With the public. Yeah. Some of them are
I
just
mean,
me.
you've had more than that, but yeah. But I just think that's something to celebrate. That is a lot of coming up even with 100 really great topics to have in a podcast is really hard work.
Yeah.
So
They're
you've
not
done
all
it.
great. My last one, so I taped my 99th about 30 minutes ago because I was like, all right, Patti and I have this scheduled. I was going to do it over the holiday weekend and I just never got to it. And then I'm like, all right, I have to do 99 first because I can't feel, I'm a rule follower. I absolutely cannot tape 100 if I haven't taped 99. So I kind of flew through it. It was a great concept, but I kind of flubbed up a little bit and I probably won't edit it. So give me some grace. Anyway, but Patti and I saw each other 3 times this Labor Day weekend. It was really
You
fun.
did.
I
It
know.
was really fun. I really very rarely have weekends that I feel are really packed and fun. I feel like
Yeah.
there's always something else going on. And this was a weekend that was really fun stuff.
Yeah.
Packed. It
Yeah.
was all really fun stuff. Where did we, now I'm trying to think, what did we do this weekend?
So we went to the Last Fling, which is a festival in downtown
Love
Naperville,
it.
and we saw this 2 90s bands. Right? Did they do little 80s too?
Well, I get that late in 80s, early 90s
Yeah.
kind of meshed together. I was just saying before we were recording that I can't remember things important things. I have to look everything up. I have sticky notes all over my desk, but yet somehow they play an early 90s rap song and I remember every word, every moment. I sing it every day.
It
What
is
happened?
amazing. It's like I haven't heard of that song for 10 years. And
Yeah.
I personally don't know every single word, but almost every word. You maybe once
Yes.
you get a couple rows into the song, you don't know the third one, but you're like, man, your brain just stores that, locks it away, and holds onto it like it's gold. And like you
I
said,
know.
how can I get rid of that and open up my brain for something that might be more
Right.
useful in my life?
Correct. If there's only so much space I have, there's some stuff I could get rid of, knowing all the lyrics to the, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I could probably utilize my head in a better way. In an emergency, that information's not going to save me.
Yeah, but The
It's a
Fresh Prince of
great
Bel-Air
song.
was a really good show,
That's
right?
a good show.
It really
Good
was.
show.
It was
It
worth
brought
it
back
was
a lot. And can I
worth.
about Last Fling, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I actually enjoy Last Fling now more as just an adult without little kids than I did when my kids were little and we would go. I know
Oh,
it, there's the
yeah.
carnival and all that, and it was fun then too, but I love it even more as an adult.
It is. It's super well. We also have really fun friends. So, that helps it out, right? That helps it out when we're hanging out with cool people and, you walk around and you see other people that it's like a little mini reunion. So that was fun. And
Exactly.
then, gosh, that was on Saturday night. And then Sunday we had the sip and see for Henry and
The
Cecilia.
CBC.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
that is those are my grandchildren. My daughter, since the last time we spoke, my oldest daughter had, well, my only daughter, I don't know why I said oldest, she had twins in May. She had twins and she doesn't live here. So her and her husband and her beautiful children came to visit us over Labor Day weekend. And we knew that people wanted to see them. I mean, they're twins for crying out loud, and a boy and a girl, which makes it even more, I think, unique. So we did, to get around nap schedules and keep them on their schedule, we did a sip and see, which is, I totally stole it from my friend Jenny Moore. If you're listening, Jenny, I totally stole your idea
I give
because
you
she did it
credit.
for her daughter a long time ago. But it was great. People got to come and see the babies and just just hang out and enjoy them. And our neighbors on our block, like at our end of the block, most of us, there are like 6 of us that have lived here for over 20 years.
Wow.
So we all know each other's kids. And Hannah's like one of the first kids to like get married and have children. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like this crazy little world that we've all watched our kids go from being, fighting about whose rules are they playing by in the street football game to like having grown up jobs and getting married and kids. But being a
That is
grandparent
wild to
is,
be able to be on that journey all together and to still
yeah,
have each other in each other's lives. And then you have like your Lion King moment, like, oh, here's my babies, here's my grandbabies, right? But you have to use like a lot of extra hands because there's two of them,
yeah,
you know?
right. Because we got 2 of them. I know it just makes it so, but they're really good babies. And grandparenting is, people say there's nothing like being a grandparent. And I heard it too. And I would be like, I mean, I'm sure it's great, but no,
Yeah.
they're right. There's
Oh,
nothing better. It's different. So they had to leave. They had to go home. We had to take down the pack and plays and put the toys away.
which made you very unhappy.
I was very unhappy, but my husband said there's no reason to have pack and plays set up in our bedroom.
That
True.
is true. You
Right.
probably trip over it. You probably break a little pinky toe because you go to
Oh,
the
for
bathroom
sure.
in the middle of the night and you wouldn't know it's there, and your little pinky toe would just catch that side of it, and you'd be like, I should have had him put it away.
Pack and
So
plays.
good job,
Right.
Dan Minglin, for
Yeah,
protecting
he
my
did.
good friend's toes.
He did. He
And yeah,
moved very quickly.
there's no reason to have them. I mean,
No,
Christmas
there's
trees, I think you can still enjoy them. Empty pack and plays, not so much.
no, there's nothing pretty about. And then it makes me sad because they're empty. It's not like there's anything in them. So it's fine. Sheets are all washed. Everything's ready to go for the next time they arrive.
There you go. There you go. And then yesterday, you just came over and we swam. We had a couple of friends over, very low key. Jason grilled up some burgers on the grill, and man, we had some kick-ass baked beans from Kim. They were yummy, a little
Oh my
spicy.
gosh.
They were really
Everything was
good.
yummy.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
really
really
good.
good.
My favorite line of the whole afternoon was when I said, well, this is our last, pool day of the summer. Like this is it. Because
Yeah,
we've had a lot of pool days this summer.
I know.
And Jason said, I will tell you when your last pool day is. Like Labor Day isn't it. Like there's gonna be more. And I thought, gosh, that's awesome. That's amazing. Like, okay, like whatever.
That
I
was pretty
swear if
funny. He's
Jason
like, I'll
oh
tell you
well,
when your last pool day is. He said it
yes.
with love. It
He
was,
didn't know he said it with much love, but I will tell you, if he calls me in December and says, "Hey, come on over before we close the pool," I will be there in December for just like, well, we've got to go. So
it,
that's pool
it
day for
we love having a pool. I mean, I grew up partially with pool. We had one from the time I think I was in seventh grade, and gosh, I just love having it. We had a diving board back then. I'm so sad I don't have a diving board. I could show you some really cool flips, even
Could
at
you
50.
really?
I can throw down. Oh yeah, I can do. Right now, I could do a backflip, just a forward full flip, and then I can do a forward full flip with like a half turn. So I could do all of those right now.
Wow.
I know. When we had to get a
Kind of
new
want to
liner for
go
the
pool.
pool, what's that?
I kind of want to go somewhere where there's a diving board to witness.
When we had to get the new liner for the pool, it was like water was leaking. It was, it definitely was time for us to replace the liner. I said to Jason, I said, do you think we should get a quote to like dig out one side of the pool and put a diving board in? And that thought process and dream was quickly gone when I got the bill for just the liner. And as soon as I got the bill for just the liner, because they have to, take all the water out, they have to take the liner out, they have to laser cut, with this big machinery. And our pool, as lovely as it is, has these weird curved stairways. So the guy that's doing it, who's our pool guy, he's like, this is the most complicated pool liner we've ever done because you have it on both sides. So we have that bench on both sides and then the curved stairs. And so that liner is one piece that gets put in. It gets cut.
That would be really difficult.
Yeah. So then the bill is really difficult to handle. So anyway, my dreams of having a backyard diving board were, if sometime I win the lottery, I will have a diving board. We may not move. We'll just dig out that sucker and put one.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I never could dive. Like that was, I took swimming lessons and all that stuff, and I could never, I don't know what it was. It was probably psychological. Like I couldn't dive. I could jump off a diving board all day long, but couldn't dive. I always got water in my nose, like all the stuff.
That was my favorite sport. That's the back injury I had, which led me to become a chiropractor, which then led me to move to the Midwest to go to Palmer, which then led me to meet my now ex-husband, which led me to open up a practice in Naperville, Illinois, because we didn't want to go back to New Jersey, which led me to have my children, which led me to have my practice, which led me to be friends with you. So really, it's because of diving that we're friends. I really, if you just track it all back,
That's perfect. That's perfect.
So anyway, all right. So gosh, the last time we taped was sometime over the summer in 2020. Life was a little different in 2020. I was thinking about my podcast because I took a kind of a long break. I decided somewhere in my head that for my 100th episode, you were going to be in my studio. I was going to figure out my really expensive camera, which I've never used. I probably should sell it at this point. And I got kind of like perfection paralysis. So I had done, I don't know, 95 or 96. I think I had 3 more to tape before 100. And so I taped one with Nicole Lamb in mid-February of 2022. And my next one that I taped was 2 weeks ago. And I think I just got in my head, well, if I keep doing them, I'm going to get to 100 really fast and I don't know the camera. And it just freaked me out. So I just didn't do them. I just kind of stopped. So that's kind of lame, but it is what it is. But we were taping, really the summer of 2020 through, the beginning of 2022. And a good chunk of that was full blown, some quarantine, COVID, trying to figure out what do I do? Everyone's just in this state of kind of unknowing. And to think about where we are now, obviously there's still COVID around and people, still get it sometimes. But for the most part, our lives are in a very different state than when we taped, 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
It almost is like I can hardly remember it sometimes. Like I forget that we had like that big long span of time where there was nothing on my calendar or, like we were just like my son at the time back then, my youngest was entering his senior year of high school, still very much in like not knowing what school was going to look like, or even like what after high school was going to look like it didn't. And he really struggled with that. Like, I think that for those kids that were either seniors when it started or juniors when it started, like, I think that transition to college got all screwy.
Yeah.
And, then like for my son, he chose to not go to college, but instead take some classes at COD. And now he has a full-time job in construction management and loves it. And I don't know if he would have necessarily fallen into something he completely loves like that. I think it would have taken him longer. So I think there's some pluses, that came out of it too.
Absolutely. I think it is, every single thing that we go through has positives and has negatives, right? And if you can get your mindset going in the right direction for the most part and try to find, all right, what am I supposed to learn during this time? Am I supposed to slow? I know a lot of people realize they slowed down. Right. A lot of people started working from home, and they proved to their boss, hey, I can get more done working because I don't have to have a 2.5, 3 hour commute in traffic downtown Chicago. And so
Right.
it's really interesting. And this could be a whole nother podcast. I'd love to bring on like managers that now are having people come back to work, or managers that are saying, you know what, it's your choice. You've shown, because I think so many people would want to work from home, and most managers or owners would say, no, we just think that productivity is going to go down, and overall sales will go down, and overall, the bottom line will go down. And I think for a lot of people, they showed that they can do it, and the flexibility they have in their lives, and their lives are better because they're able to, run and maybe have a doctor's appointment on a Monday at 9, but then they're at home working till 9. They make up for it.
Right.
Now, some people probably suck and don't do that and just lay around and
I think they
like tap the computer so it shows that you're still typing or something.
Yeah, I don't even know how that works. Like with your mouse has to move so many times in
Yeah.
like a specific period of time. But I kind of think those people, because you use the word mindset, and I do think that that's how most things are. Like if you just change the way you see something, if you really force yourself to look at it from a different perspective, it can really change how you go through it.
Yeah.
We can't control. I think if we learned anything during that time, but we can't control anything externally.
Yeah.
We can't control what happens in the environment, what happens in the world, what happens to your kids or you can't, or your job even. But
Yeah.
what we can control is how we react. And that starts with how do we look at it? Am I going to look at this situation, regardless of what it is, like it's the end of the world and I can't move forward? Or okay, like you said, what lesson am I learning here?
Yeah.
What can I take from this that's going to better me in another way? And I think that's probably what the most I got out of that time period was just, all right, there's so many things I can't control that I don't even know I can't control. Like who in
Right.
a
Right.
million years would have thought that was going to happen?
Yeah.
So
I
I
know.
just think that I try to look at things when I feel out of control, when I feel like I'm like spinning very fast. I try to like take those lessons back of, okay, let me stop for a moment. Let me think about this in a different way.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I always do go back to what lesson am I learning here? But then there's something about like, what do I, and one of our friends, I think it's Lorraine, our mutual friend Lorraine, used to say, what do you need right now? Like
Yep.
I always
Yep.
love thinking of that. Like when life is really hard or it seems chaotic, to just stop in the moment and think, what do I need right now? Not what do I
Yeah.
need in 10 minutes from now? Like, what do I need for myself right now?
Yep. Yep.
And that be maybe a nap. I may need to just take
We
a
talked about
nap.
naps on our podcast. I listened to our podcast, our first podcast that we did together, which was my socket second episode. So I listened to it on the way to the practice and the way home. And I was like, we're so cute together. We're so fun. I think about the last 3 years, our friendship. I mean, we were close friends then, but I feel like it's like exponentially
Yeah.
closer now. I mean, if I don't see you
Yeah,
at least once a week, it's like, where is Patti?
I know. I do feel very out of sync. Like when I feel like I haven't seen you on a regular basis. Unless I know you're traveling or something, then I seem to like be okay with it. But if I don't, then I think, well, what's going on? Well, and isn't that, and I think that's super cool because I know, and I see this a lot on the branch Facebook group, with it's hard to have friendships when you're adults. It is not as easy as it was in the first grade when you became friends with whoever happened to be seated next to you and you both like the color purple. Like
Right.
then you're, oh my gosh, we're best friends.
Yeah. Life's a little
It's
more complicated.
it becomes complicated and it's just not as easy. And so I think, but there's a lot of moms that will say, like, I don't have a group of girlfriends. Like I don't have, like, where do I find that? Especially I think like when my kids got older, I stopped hanging out at the soccer practice fields, which okay, that's super funny. None of my kids played soccer. I don't know why. I just threw soccer out there. Like none of my kids played that.
You made up
Lacrosse
this
for my
life that you
boys that
had
are
with
watching
your
it.
your soccer star
Um,
children.
my soccer star, yeah, my soccer star husband. I think that it's just like you don't have that mutual connection with little kids. And so then you think, well, now where do I go? And I think it's really cool that when you have adult friendships that are based on mutual respect, mutual, we like the same things, or we you used to always say it's about doing life to like the same. Like we kind of do life the same, even though we do different things in the world,
Sure.
we still have kind of the same way that we move through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love my adult friendships.
I know.
They're
I feel
what a
so so fortunate for them. It is amazing. I've never added up how many group chats that I have that you are the only common denominator, right? It's
I the other day
like if I
because
wanted
I
to
felt
text
like I was
this
responding
group,
to you 10 times about the same
I
thing.
know,
I'm like,
like,
at this point, she knows my answer. Like, stop responding.
Patty's in every group chat I have,
I
right?
feel
There's
the
probably
same
6 or 7 of them, and
way.
it's just smaller groups based off of something specific that we do
Mm-hmm.
together, or a larger group, or but when I go to search for the chats, because like your phone will pull up, like I never can type in your name because then all of the chats come up. There's some people that are only in one of the chats, and I know, okay, if I type in that woman's name, then I know to
Yes.
get to this chat because I know she's not in the other ones. Not that we're excluding anyone, just different parts of our lives.
Yeah.
And
Right. They're
so,
just different groups.
yeah.
That's
So, yeah,
so funny. I think the same thing. Someone's like, I can't answer this one more time. She knows, she knows my answer. Stop doing that.
it's all right.
Yeah,
It's
I
all right.
know. And
You can repeat yourself.
I feel like you'll figure it out.
I always do. Always do. All right. So I listened to our podcast and we had gone over the tenets of socket, right? The toss, recycle, and elevate. So I made some notes as to
Oh my
what
gosh. Are
they
you going to
were.
ask me if I tossed these
I'm
things?
gonna, well, we're
That's
gonna
about
test
what
you.
I
All
want
right. 3 years
to
later, 3 years later. All right, let me find them in my phone. I was like, all right, I'm gonna test her and see. All right. And
do.
we want to get into what we're gonna do today. So we don't want to
Okay.
take too much time with this, but all right, this was interesting because I did not remember this. You wanted to toss the idea of what you thought your life would look like and the differences in what it actually is.
Oh,
Do you
I
remember
love
that?
that I wanted to toss that. Gosh, I was
Did you
so
do it?
wise back in 2020. You know what? I think that I have done that. I
Okay.
think and my kids, I think that the way life just happens, I think, and oh man, like thinking back to when that was, I know why I was thinking that. Like, I know, that was when, like, I think that's when my son was like not sure about going to college. And
Yeah.
but the other two went to college and that's just what you do. And, like, I'm pretty sure that was probably what I was doing,
Hmm.
but I think I've done that. It's a hard one though. Really hard one.
It is because your life, takes you on a different path. And somehow I think we all have these ideas of what will my life look like and but
Yeah.
that it's winding and twisting and ups and downs, and it doesn't go in this trajectory of up, it goes sideways, and you're down in a ditch the next day, it's all over the place. So
Yeah. And I think that that's what
that
I've
was
learned
yours.
to do is just kind of roll with it. Like it's going to be something. I try not to put too much time thinking about what I think it's going to look like and
Yeah,
just kind of roll with what it is.
it's
And
good.
so,
See, all right, so you've get like a
all
check
right. I'm
plus.
very excited about that. I feel like I
Yeah,
accomplished that.
I think I get a check plus for mine as well. Mine was not feeling guilty of not going to every gala, every party,
Ah,
every event. And I think I've done that. I will go to something if I want to go to it. And if I don't want to go to it, or if I get asked to do something like be on a board, I remember Nancy Wearsome reached out to me probably a year and a half ago. And she was like, Cathy, I'd love to take you out to coffee. Just want to talk to you about something. And she asked me if I would be a part of their community advisory board. And this is for those of you that don't know, Loaves and Fishes, our community pantry that supplies people with food that need food, and they do a lot of other things.
so
They're
good. Yeah.
fantastic and amazing. So anyway, I looked at her and I said, well, Nancy, I said, how often does the group meet? And she said, only twice a year. I'm like, all right, I'm listening. And I said, what time of day does it meet? She said, 3 to 5 p.m. I'm like,
Oh,
sold. I'm like, sold. I'm like, so, I know I've talked, probably you and I have talked about this before, like my early morning meetings, I just
if it's
not,
7:30, you're not in the morning, you're not doing that.
I'm not. And if I have met you at 7:30 in the morning or agreed to something, I really care about you. Like it's worth it for me to not sleep well. I don't know, it screws up my sleep for some reason. Because then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to fall asleep now to get this amount of sleep.
Oh,
It messes me. Anyway, all right. So the next one is recycle. This
okay.
one was you were newer. Well, not newer, but I think your business had kind of taken a big jump up, in my opinion, right?
It did.
And so you were recycling the relationship with Dan, with your spouse. And you're like, I'm not trying to toss my husband, but you were saying that you needed to find different ways to spend time with him, like because you didn't have as much time, like your time was different. So you had to
Yes.
recycle that. And so how do you feel you and Dan are doing? What's
Oh my gosh,
your
I'm feeling very good about this pop quiz thing. We've done very well with that. We try to, not we're not perfect every week, but usually we try to have a date night every single week, which
Yep.
seems crazy because our kids
Wednesdays?
are adults, but Wednesday night date nights. Um, and we try to like go out to different restaurants each time or go do something different. We're finishing our basement right now, so a date night a few weeks ago was picking out carpet. Like it wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
We were, Lowe's or whatever, but
Oh, you're gonna have a cool
great.
basement though. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
But it was
exciting.
fun to kind of do together. So we really have done that. And we're pretty consistent about it. And if we have a couple weeks where we don't, we feel really off.
Mm.
But I will say now that we're really firmly sitting in the empty nester camp, um, you
And
think
grandparent
life
camp.
in grandparent camp, you think life's going to slow down, and it does. And we're not going to lacrosse games, 4 times a week, and we don't have, color guard competitions and all those things that were so fun and great to do. Love them. But you have to really make time because you start to fill in those gaps with just what you're interested in. Like for me, I'm borderline workaholic. And so I can just start to like fill it in with work stuff,
Oh,
networking. I love networking. I could fill that easily in. So I love that we kind of have that moment where it's going to be just the two of us
yep.
and we're going to go to dinner. And even if we just talk about how good the steak is, like that's going to be good enough. We
Yeah.
don't put any other parameters around it. Oh,
Well, and I will say, I don't know if you remember the Friends episode where Rachel is pregnant and Phoebe at first says she's not pregnant. And then
oh,
Rachel's like, I don't know how I could be sad about something that I don't even have. I never
yes.
had. And then Phoebe's like, I'm just joking. You're pregnant. And then at some point in that conversation, Rachel was like, well, that was a risky little trick, or that was a risky little risk or something. So me asking you that was slightly risky, but I see you and Dan together and it looks like you're doing great. So good
Yeah.
job. Good job with the
We did that one.
recycling.
Okay. I feel very good. Wow. This is making me feel very
I
accomplished.
know, I know. So mine was my relationship with myself and how I speak to myself. Again,
Ooh,
check plus for me.
yes.
Um, God, I used to be like the worst to myself. I used to say the worst things. I so infrequently say anything like that. I mean, I've done a really good job of shifting that, of recycling that, of giving myself grace. Jason was, a big part of that too, because I would just say these terrible things to myself out loud, and he would always say, "Don't talk about the woman that I love that way." Like, no, I'm not going to accept.
I love that.
I
I
know.
love
He's
that
so
comment.
great. He's so great. He's very demanding about what your last pool day will be, but for me,
Right.
he's very kind.
He like, but that's, you know what? That's a big plus for Jason. Jason's always looking at things of like what is really better for you. Like he really is a person that does want the best for you.
Yeah.
Like if you're in his world, if you're in his orbit, if you're friends with him, anybody that's friends with Jason, just know this. Like he really does genuinely, even if he's giving, I always call it, the drive-by life coaching that he
Yeah,
gives.
that's right.
Sometimes
He's really good at it.
he can give you like a little bit of tough love in those moments, but it's like all done literally out of love. Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
just telling you this because like he wants you when he says that don't talk about the woman I love like that. He genuinely means like, look, don't do that. This is
Yeah.
everything about you I love and you should love too. Like
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I know. He's so great. I love you, Jason. Oh my goodness, he's so great. I'm so lucky. All right, all right, so we got right now we're doing good,
I
right?
know. I'm good. I'm very worried about this. Let's
All right.
like
So your elevation was things that bring you joy and clients that bring you joy, work that brings you joy.
clients, yes. I think I still am not elevating enough of what brings me joy. I think I'm still
Okay.
trying to figure out post kid activity things that bring me joy. Like I think I was spending a lot of time focused on them and their world. Not that I was by any means a helicopter parent, because I'm probably the laziest parent ever, but like just, you're focused in what they're doing and what's going on. And I think that I've had to kind of relearn what does bring me joy?
Mm.
Like, what is it? I actually had a conversation with somebody the other day about like if money were no object at all, and I didn't have to work, I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do, what would I do? And I had zero answer to that.
Really? Yeah,
Yes.
you got to
It
figure
was
that out. We're
really
going to give you like a C plus on this one, maybe.
the plus I think is really, really kind. I think it's really kind.
I'm a generous type of gal.
Yeah. At least I mean I think I just don't know what that is, which we can get into that. But I don't know
Yeah.
how to do that. Like I'm not sure I even know what to do to find that. But
Hmm.
I did have that comment just like a week ago, had that exact conversation. If nothing, it was also at the end of a rough day, but I
Right.
did say I don't know what I would do. I
Hmm.
have nothing. Like some people be like, I'm gonna open up a bookstore so I can just sit around and read books all day. I like to read books, but I don't know if I want to open up a bookstore. Because then I think, oh my gosh, then I gotta employ people. And then I gotta make sure that the payroll's done. And like then I
Right.
go into like spin it out of something weird.
For me, I'd have to be on a set schedule, and that is no bueno for me. I do not like to be on a set schedule. Like to fly by the seat of my pants. That's what I like to do.
Well, and you're a good joy person.
I am
Like
very
you
joyful.
are, that is I don't know if you prioritize it, but I feel like you prioritize it. Like just like what you just said before, I'm not going to do things that I don't really want to do. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
yes to
Yeah.
everything. It's got to align with my values and goals here for right now.
It's funny because I don't think for most of my life I haven't lost that childlike joy. Like there's just things that will happen that are so small. Like Jason's always like, I'm married to a toddler. I mean, the things that make me happy, that make me dance, that make me sing, that maybe do like my little Pooh Bear, like, oh my gosh, this meal is so great. I just really, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know where I got that or if I tried to do that. I just think gosh, life is short and I'm going to find the happiness in it. I'm going to feel joy from silly things. I'm going to laugh at myself. I'm going to, and I think it's part of what keeps my body healthy. And, I rarely wear some wood. I rarely get sick. I just have a very positive, joyful attitude. So I do that well. Well, all right, we'll talk about that offline. We'll do, you know what, we'll pull Jason in for some drive-by life coaching.
Great.
So
Okay. Perfect.
mine was mine. C plus would be, oh God. Mine was plugging into my health and elevating my health because was probably 46-ish, probably 46 before I turned 47 when we taped this. And now I just turned the big 50. God, that was a fun party, wasn't it?
So
I had
fun.
such a good time. I was with Emily last week and she was like, so tell me, she's like, was there any, like, is there anything that could have made the day better? I was like, I don't think so. It really was just
That's the
perfect
best.
start to finish. It was so great.
Yes.
We were home by like 9:30, which is even better.
That's even better.
We did start at 2, so at some point.
I need to be in bed at 10.
Right, exactly. So, I go through phases with my life where I can give this, have I done this? Have I elevated this? Where I'm like an A plus plus. And then there's times I'm like, I don't even know if F is a low enough grade. Can you go lower? I mean, I guess not. It's not like I don't eat fast food. For myself, what I perceive for what I could do to take care of my health. and I just taped my podcast after my long year and a half long break because I was afraid to tape in my studio when Zoom is perfectly fine and is really easy, and I know how to do it. Anyway, I taped the Get Busy Living, Get Busy Dying podcast where I was, thinking about that Shawshank Redemption moment, and at 50, I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of at least half over, and what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of myself? So I feel like there have been friends that I've kind of had to kind of toss because they're in an unhealthy relationship with someone, and we have the same conversation over and over and over. So, Socket, dear listeners, I am sorry that I am on repeat of this conversation. I'm sure there's some of you that struggle like I do. I'm trying to get my shit together. And I just know now the 50 mark, it didn't upset me. It's motivated me. It was like I woke up going, okay, like my body in the next couple of decades is going to be less forgiving, less resilient. It's not going to take what I'm trying to throw at it with as much grace. And what vitality, longevity, and life do I want to live? And I've been very fortunate that I feel good. I have lots of energy. I'm able to sleep well. I don't have a lot of quote unquote illnesses or anything like that. And I'm not on any medication. So I feel very fortunate, but at some point that catches up with you. So, all right, I'll give myself a D plus.
I don't think so.
No, you
Because
don't think so?
what you just
A
said
minus.
about you have like these peaks and valleys there. And I feel like that's
Yeah,
all of us with overall healthy living. Like I think sometimes it just gets, I mean, there are people that just are really good at it. God love them. There are people that just do it. But I look at overall well-being as everything, not just the physical
that's
stuff,
true.
but the emotional stuff. And so even people I know that are incredibly physically healthy, sometimes their emotional health is not doing so well,
That's
or
true.
so I think, and you think about it, like it's not like what else I love is that we have to change that definition of what it means to be healthy as we get old. Like for me, it is being able to hang out with my grandkids in a way where I'm not, creaking my knees every time. Like
Right,
I'm not trying to run a
mobility.
marathon. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to, do something that I don't really want to be doing. Like I just want my bones to not deteriorate, like disintegrate on contact. Like I just want to do
right.
those things. And I think once you start getting like, okay, for me, I just want to feel really good and I want to
Yeah,
be like, I want to be able to live the life I want to live. And what do I just need to do that? It doesn't
yeah.
mean I need to be, I don't need to be a size 2 to do that. Like
No,
that would
no.
be just ridiculous for me.
Oh my
But
God. I would take you to some sort of clinic. Be like, she needs help. We need to do an
you
intervention.
do because emotionally something's gone horribly wrong.
Something's really wrong. Well, and when I got married, I was a size 6. I weighed like easily 100 pounds less than I do now. And I had a few people after my wedding come up to me and say, is everything okay? Like, I thought I was like, looked awesome. And I remember on my honeymoon, like, I just remember thinking, God, your stomach isn't flat. I was like, for my body style, because I have a large frame body, me at that size was not a good thing. And it was not sustainable, and it just was all messed up. So anyway, all right. So can I give myself a C then? Will you accept that
All
grade?
right, I'll do a C, but not anything lower.
All right. This is why we have good friends. I love you, Pat. All right. All right. All right. So now I want to, fast forward 3+ years later. Um, what are you working on now? What's your toss now? I gave it some thought and I made a couple of notes. So, I like to spring
My
things on
gosh.
you just to put you on the spot.
Gosh. Okay, I already did I'm not gonna I'm not gonna try to predict my life. All right, got that one done. I think for me, what I am tossing is, well, actually, it's kind of, I'm going to go to your recycle thing. I think it was your recycle. I'm not going to say yes to everything. I'm
Okay. Yep.
tossing that.
Yep.
I'm going to really think about what, I used to have, a minister that told me one time that there were prayers of desolation and consolation. that when you and if you're not religious, it doesn't have to be a prayer, it can just be a feeling into the universe. But when you say something out loud to the universe, does it give you, do you feel energy in a positive way, or do you feel energy in a negative way? Like instantly, what do you feel? And
Yeah.
if you
Yep.
feel it negatively, then don't move forward with that. Even if you think the world wants me to do this, look, everybody's saying you're amazing, do it, do it. If that is the feel that you're, the immediate feel you get, say no.
Yeah.
On the opposite end, if you feel that energy and it feels very positive, even if you're scared about taking the next step,
Mm,
if you don't know what the future holds when you say that, yes, if that energy is there, then go forward and see what happens. But I
I
think
love that.
I'm going to toss out not paying attention to what I'm feeling in
Hmm.
order to and just say yes to everything. I'm really going to pay attention to how do I feel.
Yeah. I love that thought process, right? It's kind of like, hey, if you get done with an event, and we talked about this on our first one that we taped, and you're energized and you're like, wow, that was awesome, right? Then that's something that you really do like doing, even if you feel some fear. Like when we host events, I've been doing events for at least 10 years, at least a decade. But in the back of your mind, you're always a little fearful. Are people going to get tickets for this? And if they got tickets, are they going to show up? And you can't control that, right? And there certainly have been events that have just, man, we've had a wait list for a month before the event. And there have been events where, oh, you're kind of like, well, it's a pretty light turnout. And then I try to spin it like, well, the people that were supposed to be here were here. And now we'll give everyone more time to talk. And maybe people build closer relationships. I try to spin it
Yeah.
in that
Oh, yeah.
positive way, even though in the end, in the back of my mind, I'm like, no one came to my event. Not no one, the people that are here. And I'm very joyful for those people that are here. And
Right.
so I
Right.
think,
It's
yeah,
true.
I think that's great. What am I tossing?
It,
Tossing is too strong of a word for what I'm doing right now. Um, Daily alcohol intake is what I'm tossing. I am not sure what I mean, again, this is something I've talked about before. What I found is that alcohol to me is the linchpin for me keeping a healthy weight, not a
mm,
weight, not it's not the alcohol in itself with, quote unquote, how much I drink. It's if I do it, then it leads to other things. And the things that it leads most to is I'm going to eat more because I'm a little snacky, or, I'm just like, oh, I probably should make myself a cheese quesadilla right now. And then I exercise less, I move less. And when I drop it, I'm always like, man, is there really a big problem here? I don't think so. I don't think it's that, because I can just say, well, I'm just not going to drink, and I don't drink. And then I find that I'm more motivated the next day. I have a little more, I normally have a lot of energy, but I have a little more energy. And then I make healthier food choices because I feel, just feel proud of myself. I'm taking care of my body in a different way. So I haven't, I don't know that toss is 100% the right word, because I'm not saying I'm never going to have a glass champagne at someone's wedding, but for right now, I'm taking a little breather. Go Brewing has been awesome, right? I think I've mentioned
yeah.
that on every podcast I've taped the past 2 weeks. But just that habit, I think it's a little more of a habit. It became this is the time to relax. You've worked really hard all day, and now it's 5 o'clock, and now it's dinner time, and now it's time to unwind. And so
Right.
for me, mentally, emotionally, it's more than the physical, because I don't really, like, I'm not that stressed out. I'm not, I'm not trying to piece out of my life or anything like that. People use alcohol for very different reasons, but I think the habit just kind of kept going, and then it just became all the time. So I'm trying to curtail that and make some positive changes. And even I'm over 2 weeks in. I mean, I just feel a little lighter on my feet. My clothes fit a little better. I'm eating less snacks at night, and I'm a little more motivated. So
Oh, that totally makes sense. And it makes, when you said the linchpin of everything, that totally makes sense to me. That idea that that's when it's not even necessarily the alcohol itself, but it's just, it leads you to make other bad decisions. Again, like you're
right,
eating, I should not be eating a quesadilla at 10 o'clock at night.
right. No, there's not.
Never,
My body
ever.
does not need that.
No. Or just sleeping better. Like all of those things, it is better. I totally get that. And I do
It,
love go brewing.
It's great. I taped a podcast last week with Jake Kiltz, and he brought up alcohol as his toss. And he said, the more and more I listen to people that excel in their career, or people that are really into like self-improvement, or you think about even like Jason Bateman on the podcast. What is it called?
Oh, Smartless.
Smartless. Oh my goodness. I thought it was like I was saying shameless. I'm like shameless and smartless, two very different mediums of entertainment.
Probably two very different podcasts, but whatever.
But anyway, there's a lot of people that he was saying that he's looked up to and learned from. And he's like, I really see a big trend in people going, this alcohol is just not serving me well anymore. So anyway.
Right. I totally get that. That's a good one.
All right. Recycle.
Ugh. I don't want to recycle. No, I think for me, I'm recycling. Okay, so my business did spike back in 2020. The positive of the of COVID was that everybody realized they needed to create content and talk to people. Awesome. Yes. It's great for a content company. But so I think I'm recycling what this kind of goes with what I recycled before, what I thought life would be like. I'm recycling what I think my business should be like. Mm-hmm. I want to scale, and I've been working, which is great. I mean, that's fine. I'm all about growth. But when you say that to people, you get a lot of people tell you what that means. Like, okay, well, if you're scaling, then that means you have to have a business X amount of size, or you have to somehow have 20 employees someday and all these things. And so then I started to do that, and I thought, oh, this is making me uncomfortable. I don't want a company with 20 employees. Like, I don't need it to be that big. That is not the space that I want. Or it was, you need to be working with bigger clients. You need to work with more corporations that can pay you more money and for these services. And that's great too, except that I don't necessarily really like working with the big corporations. I love the small to medium folks. I love the entrepreneurs. I love the more local feel of those are the people, those are my people. I dig that. And so for the longest time, I thought that I had to create the company that everyone was telling me that I had to create in order to feel success, that they had created success for me. And now I needed to do that. And these aren't bad people. They weren't trying to like do this mean. But now I'm recycling that. You know what? I can have the business that I want to have. I can grow it just as big as I want it to be for me. If it's not big enough for somebody else, and it's not big enough for somebody else. And, I think there was this idea that I needed to build a company really big so I could sell it and retire and live on a beach. I don't know what I was thinking. But I don't know. Like, what if I just kept doing this? Like, what if I just did this? I like doing it. What if I just kept doing it? And what if I hired a couple of people to help me do it? And like, what if it just is this little fun, great thing that I get to do for as long as I want? And when I don't want to do it anymore, I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then what happens? I don't know. Maybe one of those people takes it over from me, or maybe I don't know. But I think I'm recycling the idea that I need to have this big, lofty, I'm trying to become something I'm not. Like, I don't want, I spent my entire life as a teenager being whatever group I was in, I became that group.
Little chameleon type of thing.
And it was great when you're a teenager. It makes you really super, people like you. That's awesome. And it makes you great in networking events. It's great to be able to like waltz in. But it's not so good when you are an adult and you're running a business and you're trying to figure out, like, what do I want?
Yeah.
It goes back to my thing of not knowing what joy is, like what my real joy is. Like, I need to do what I want to do. And if I don't quite know what that is, then I'm just going to have to figure it out slowly. And it's okay if it doesn't look like what all the cool kids are doing over there or the cool kids are doing here. Like, maybe it's different. Maybe I do it differently than anyone else is doing, and that's okay. So I'm recycling my vision on what it means to grow a company and doing it the way I feel is the most comfortable.
Well, and that's one of the amazing things about being an entrepreneur, is that you get to drive the bus, and
Yeah.
you get to decide what route that bus takes and how far you go.
Right.
And one person's idea of success is going to be different than someone else's. And one person's idea of, flexibility in their work schedule, or what companies they work with. I mean, to work with large corporations also means you're jumping through a gazillion steps of red tape, and someone's got to take this to someone else. And I mean, even with
Right.
the branch I see, I mean, there'll be people I meet with that's a small to medium business that I have a half-hour conversation with. They followed the branch for 8 years. They know what we do. They know the influence we have. They know the good quality companies we work with. And they're ready to sign up for one of our larger advertising packages like in a half an hour. And then to try to get like a corporation to sign up for something that costs $500, it'll take a month and a half.
Right.
And so, while at the end of the day, for some industries, working with those larger clients does mean larger dollars, it's also larger frustration, larger, like, you keep after reaching out, and someone's got to, talk to this person, talk to that person. Oh, they can't do that because this is off. I mean, it's just a lot more to do.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Um,
And I will say this because I am in a position to say this. This hasn't always been the case. I've had to take clients just to take clients to have money.
yeah,
I know that. That has been my story as an entrepreneur. But I now can kind of decide.
yeah,
I can have other motivation for building a company. It's not a money motivation. It's a motivation of what gives me satisfaction. Nothing brings me more joy than a client feeling like, oh my gosh, I finally get this. Like my social media finally looks like how I feel, or
yeah,
this blog post sounds exactly like me. Those are the things that make me that brings me more joy and satisfaction than the money.
yeah.
I mean, I still want money if you're
You're like,
all
I'm not wishing,
crazy.
I'm not
No, we should
manifesting
not.
less money.
But
Yeah,
I just think that I think maybe my motivation has changed a little. You were just mentioning being 50 and how you look at that as, look, life is not turning backwards.
yeah, yeah.
You at our best days, we were halfway through. I'm over 50. So it's like, well, how do I want to spend that? And do I want to spend that time, chasing down people at a big corporation, for getting 10 people to approve something, and I probably not. I
Yeah.
might just go downtown Naperville and shoot a few quick video clips and turn it into a reel and be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like those are the kind of things that I think I'm just gonna recycle how I vision my company.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is very similar. And it also is, your first toss of, what you thought your life was going to be and what it is. My recycle for today is recycling my thought process that I was going to be able to take the branch to a certain level by myself. So
Ah,
in 2019, when we rebranded Naperville Moms Network as the branch, I had this very clear vision. It was dreams. I could feel it, that I was somewhere downtown Chicago in a big like conference room, like stadium. I mean, it wasn't the United Center or anything, but it was pretty big. And there were probably 300 mom coordinators from all over the country. And I was giving the keynote speech of the branch and where it was, and that it was all throughout the United States. And that was so clear to me. It was so clear. And over the last, I'd say 2 years, that dream, that vision for me has diminished and diminished and diminished and diminished, where I got to a place where I was like, you know what? I think I just want to keep it in Chicagoland. I just want to keep it in, the western suburbs, so to speak. And by that, back then meant Naperville and kind of one town over and no further out. And then I started working with Naomi. You know what, Naomi? She's my neighbor. We've been friends, kind of casual friends, for about 3 years. And she started doing these amazing events. They're called Renew events and Glow events. They're mom self-care events. And I was paying attention to what she was doing online and thought she was doing an awesome job. So I asked her if she wanted to go to coffee, and we met at a local Starbucks. And she basically had this like PowerPoint presentation that she printed out for me of what she saw the branch doing in the community, how much I was helping people, every component of how I help people, and the vision that she had of it being much, much larger. And it was funny because her vision, I have like this wheel, like this thing on one piece of paper, my vision board for the branch. And some of the things that she mentioned were on this initial vision board that I had. Actually, the first time I had made this vision was in 2014. So it was a long time ago.
Wow.
And when we met, it kind of reignited that feeling of like, like someone else sees this. Like I feel a little tired in doing that. I put so much energy into getting it to where it is now. And so we were talking, and we met on a Thursday. This is sometime in April. And she said, I really want you to give some thought process. Like, do you want to grow this, or do you want to keep it where it is? And it's okay. Kind of like where you're at. Like,
Yeah.
what level do I want to go to? You might not be satisfied with where Go Girl is right now, but you may not want to take it, to the moon and back. You might
Right.
want to find this kind of like that sweet spot, right? A little like this bed is just right, not too firm, not too soft, it's just right.
Yes.
And so I really gave it some thought. And Jason and I have been talking for the last 2 years of, if we expanded, we think the easiest way to expand would be that someone that was already running a mom-like community or mom's community either didn't want to do it anymore, or just didn't know how to have a business aspect to it, which you would need to do to make it your full-time job. And if we were to do that, it'd be in Geneva, Illinois, because that's where Allison, my practice manager for advanced health, and my account manager for the branch is at. You already know this, I know, but I'm just sharing the story.
No, I love it.
So
I can hear you.
literally 3 days later, I wake up, I go downstairs, I get a cup of coffee, I open up my phone, and a woman named Chrissy from Stay and Play Local Tri-Cities, which is where Geneva, Illinois is closing down this community she's run for 5 years because she had to take a full-time job and she needed to provide differently for her family. And it's in Geneva, Illinois. And it was like, like, what? I read it. I had chills all down the back of my head, and I handed it to Jason. I said, read this. And he's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? It was like exactly what I had envisioned it being the possible next step, exactly in the right place and exactly the way we thought it. And I remember it was like, all right, shit or get off the pot. Do you want to grow this? Right. And I got to a place, I met with Chrissy. We had this awesome 3-hour meeting a couple of days later. And then it took a while for us to kind of nail down specifics and how we were going to do it. And I remember at one point thinking, oh, if I lost this now, I'd be really disappointed, which then confirmed to me, like what you're talking, like, what do you feel about this? Right. I didn't want to lose it. And I was like, all right, I want to move forward. And then Naomi and I started, once we took over Stay and Play Local, which is now the branch Tri-Cities, we started having a vision for building out a brand new website. And her visionary ability is above mine. And the way she has like this, like, I'm a great visionary for many things, but I feel like with my skill set and my brain, I took the branch to kind of as far as I can take it. So she has all these other ideas, but then she's also uber detail orientated. So she can take the vision and put it into an action plan and then have things to check off, which my brain just doesn't do. So all of a sudden I had to open up my thought process. I had to recycle the thought process that I'm not doing this on my own, that this is not just Cathy Suber taking on the world of the moms, right? This is creating a team, and you're a great part of that team, right? You do the content for our newsletters, and we're going to hire you to do more as we continue to expand. But on September 21st, we are launching that new website, and we're launching nationally. And I'm super, super, super excited, and also really scared.
Right.
But I'm excited, right? And I know
Yes.
I can't do this by myself. I can't single-handedly do this, even with support people. I need someone that's helping me drive the bus. I need multiple bus drivers. And it's been a recycling of like a mindset of and then opening up to the thought process of, oh, someone could help me with this.
Right.
That's been great.
Right. No, this is, and I will say this is the second time I've heard you. I've known the behind the scenes for a while. This is the second time I've heard you say like out loud in public about going national, and I get
Yeah.
this feel each time. Like it's such an exciting feel for me because it just feels so exciting. It not just it feels exciting. It's just it feels so you. Like I don't know, and I don't know. I as a person that does words, I have no words, but it just feels like I don't know. There's just something about I just feel like that the having a larger stage for the community that you've created, there's more of that. Like I mentioned earlier
Yeah.
about women get on the branch Facebook page and talking about how they have trouble finding friends, and your community brings those because those posts get like 30 people that are like, I'm here. Like, let's get
Yeah.
together. Let's read a book, the same book. Let's go to coffee. Let's all
Yeah.
do this. And I think there are moms everywhere that have those same feelings, whether it's, I don't know, I'm having a baby for the first time and I don't know what I need to pack in my bag to go to the hospital. Like it could be that
Right. That
things
gets asked a lot. Yeah.
it gets asked a lot, or I don't have friends, or I'm having trouble in my relationship and I don't know what to do. That is happening everywhere,
Yeah.
and the community that you're building is needed. And I think that it's so cool to find, like you said, that person that can take that vision and idea and like boil it down to like, okay, well, this is how we're going to make it happen. Like,
Right.
it's great
Right.
to have this and we want that to happen, but we got to do these steps to get
Yeah.
where you want to be and to be able
Which
to
is a
see
lot of
that.
work. I mean, it's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot of work.
And
Yeah.
it's systemizing everything. Because right now,
Yes.
like basically one of our first meetings was, what do you other than you, who
Yeah.
knows what you do, what Jason does, what Patty does, what Allison does, what Jen does, what Amanda does, right? Those are kind of all the people that are currently involved. Who other than you knows who does all that? I was like, absolutely no one. She's like, where do you have that written down? I go, it's in my head. She's like, let's get it written down.
Oh my gosh, I've worked with Naomi too. And then she said the same thing to me once. She's like, because it's all about internal processes. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't grow a team if you don't have the internal processes. And she did the same thing. Who else knows this?
you're like, you're like,
Buddy?
no
Or how do
one.
you know this? I think that was the question. How did you know that? Well, because it's just in my head. Well, let's get it out of there and put it in. But you have to have those people, which
Yeah.
moves me into my elevate. I know elevate's the next one because this
Yep.
goes my elevate.
Hey, you
It's
go right into it. We can.
delegating. I am going to
Ah,
delegate more. And not just business. That's like the stuff you think of, but like delegating to getting things done in life. Like if someone can do it for me, and I'm not saying even having to pay somebody, but if like my son is here and he can pick up something for me on his way here, why would
yeah.
I not have him do that? Like, why do I keep thinking that somehow I have to do that?
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with, splitting jobs here and there with what we do. But delegating, that's a tough nut. I don't know how well I'm going to elevate it. Like when we come back and check on this, I'm not going to
In 3 years, well,
100% in
like
3 years.
so.
I don't know how I'm going to do. But just like you said, you get to a point where you're like, if I want to do what I really want to be doing, I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing it. There's the myth. Nobody's doing it. If you think that the woman next door has it all, she's doing it all super well. I guarantee you she's got help somewhere. She's
Yeah.
asking somebody to step in, whether that is she's getting her groceries delivered, or
Yep.
she has, somebody picks up her kid 2 days a week from soccer practice, or again with my soccer references. I have no idea what's
I'm
happening.
gonna get you a soccer ball
I
for
know.
a
I'm
little
serious.
soccer ball ornament for Christmas.
Right. Or she has somebody that, is like your Allison who can take over and be running part of the practice or part of it. She's got somebody doing something, and
Yeah.
she's been brave enough to say, I can't do this all. I need help here.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm elevating. I want to be able to communicate effectively and be brave and bold enough to say, I can't do this. I need help.
Yep. I think that's so important. And for that woman you're talking, that hypothetical woman you're talking about that
Yeah.
you think is doing everything, if for any chance she actually is doing everything, she's exhausted and it's
Oh,
taking a toll on her mental and her physical health.
100%. I think there's a quote that somebody said, I have no idea who said this, that you can have it all, but not all at once.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't just, and I think as women, we put that pressure on ourselves that somehow we're the ones that have to come up with all the solutions. No, we can have somebody. And again, even if it's just getting your groceries delivered once a week, I did that and it was like a game changer. I mean, we started doing it during COVID,
Yeah.
but I kept doing it. And then I thought, well, why would I stop? Like, it's great. Like, I don't have time. I don't want to run to the grocery. I don't like going. So people love the grocery store. Go
Yeah.
do it. But
Yeah.
it doesn't bring me joy. I don't like doing it. And if you can just deliver my milk and eggs to my front porch, I'm super happy.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that I need to ask for help more and not be ashamed of asking for help or think somehow I should be able to figure this out because you can't figure all the pieces out all the time.
No, that's so true. And when you really think about it, we're in a fortunate position where if you want to get your groceries delivered, you spending X amount of dollars, right? Whatever that is, the service fee, the tip that you're giving, the dasher, or whatever you want to call it. If you spend that hour and a half that's going to take you to go to the grocery store, shop, check out, get home, and put everything away, right? If you spent it doing your actual work, you would make way more money during that actual hour and a half or however long that takes than what it is
Yes.
that you have to pay to have that done. So it's all you
Right.
also, have to think about that and if you don't enjoy it, then why task yourself with it? You're also providing a job for someone, right? So there's a lot of great things
Right.
that come out of that outsourcing and that delegation, right? The delegation that I've done has created jobs for, I have 10 employees. Some of that's chiropractic, right? I used to be able to take care of all of our patients prior to, hurting my elbow. Now I have 3 doctors that, we take care of more than what I just did. But it's once you get to a place that you want to shift things up, delegation is the only way to do it. It clears things off your plate
Agreed.
and it clears your mind and it allows you to elevate what you're able to do and also spend time doing things that you're really, really good at and going in your
Yeah.
own flow, which is so important. And then you can get even more work done because you're in your flow and you're in your happy place and you're doing the things that you're really good at. So
Agreed. So
that's
agreed.
awesome. That's
All right.
awesome.
So what are you
My
elevating?
elevate, we're going to go back to my broken record, right? I'm going to bring my old elevate, my plug into my health into my new elevate. It's just too important. It's what's hitting me upside the head right now. And I won't talk about it further because I think I've come on here like 4 times in the past couple of years with this new profound, I'm back to my health. So at this point, actions speak louder than words. So I will share with you once my actions are speaking louder than my words. So that's all I'll say about that.
But isn't that part of what I love about the people trying to elevate? I love to hear that it's not easy because it's not easy. Like anytime I've tried to elevate an area of my life, there's a lot of obstacles and struggle. And sometimes you do like to hear that, it's not that easy. Like these are the challenges I'm going through, and this is how I'm getting through them. But
Yeah.
just I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm no longer gonna, I'm only going to eat fruits and vegetables. It's
Right.
so easy. Every day I never crave a drumstick ice cream cone, which I know it's sitting in my freezer right now. I know it's there.
Do you like the one with the nuts or no nuts?
Nuts,
Yeah.
100%. A lot of people don't. And it was delivered by my groceries yesterday evening. So
See?
my deliveries
Awesome.
dropped off.
Okay, I was always the one with the strawberry shortcake.
I
That was
did
the one
like
I got.
those. Yes, I do like those.
Yeah, those are
And
really good.
we have a multiple pack, so you can get whatever you want. And they're tinier. They're smaller versions.
Oh, then you can have like 7 of them, and you really don't count, right? They're small, they
I
don't count.
I literally have had that conversation in my head. I've
That's
justified
awesome. That's
why
awesome.
I'm eating 3 of them in one day.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Patti, for coming
Thank
on. I think for
you.
your fourth time. What do they call like if you do 4 times out of 100? Like
Yeah.
it's not like,
Oh,
is it
like,
like quad, I don't know,
I don't
I don't
know.
know what
Let's
it is.
think of a fun thing.
But
I
anyway,
will.
I
I love it.
appreciate you, and I
I
appreciate your
appreciate it.
friendship, and I appreciate you helping me celebrate my 100th episode. And you'll be there to help celebrate our national expansion. So
Yay! So
uh,
excited.
I think your podcast will actually launch that week. Pretty sure it'll be in 2 weeks that it comes out. So it'll be right before our event. And we're almost sold
Yay!
out. So I'm super excited. People are
Oh,
going
that's
to show up. It's
awesome.
going to be so fun.
I know it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Can't
And like
wait.
you said, it's like, moms need this. People, people in Naperville need it. People everywhere need it. So
Agreed.
if I can help provide it with the skill set I have, with the people I surround myself with, even though it's a little scary and a little outside of my comfort zone, I like to make things up as I go along, and I tend to get bored if I'm not creating things. So I think it's just the right time, the right place, and everything has come together. So I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thanks for having me.
You're
This is so
welcome.
fun.
You're welcome. How can people get a hold of you if they want content creation?
Oh, Go Girl Communications with an S.com, or you can find us on all of the social media platforms or connect with me through LinkedIn. I'm really up in my LinkedIn game because I feel like that is the neglected child of the social media platform for me. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll get back with you right away. It's my focus right now. So,
That's going to
uh,
have to be my new recycle, because I have like a ton of people connected on LinkedIn. I do nothing with it.
it's my new thing. I just, again, it is. Well, and I always say with my own social media, the cobbler's kids have no shoes.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
my blogs are never as updated as our clients' blogs or our social media. I don't have an email that goes out every week. So, but we're getting there because I'm
Yeah.
going to delegate and
There
have
you
more people
go.
to help me do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. You can find me at Cathy at simplysocket.com. Hope you have a great day, and hope you're thinking about what you need to toss, recycle, and elevate. Thanks.